Assalamualaikum to all beloved listeners and a very good morning. You're now tuned in to IIUM FM, your campus radio. And I'm Najwa Nordin, your host for this week's Financial Fit Stop, where we explore faith, finance and the future. Alhamdulillah, we're coming to you now in the midday box segment from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And today's episode for Financial Fit Stop carries a special theme, which is the Waqf, the sustainable charity model. And before we begin, I'm honoured to introduce our distinguished guest. We have Associate Professor Dr. Azizan Binti Che Embi from the Department of Finance, Kuliah of Economics and Management Sciences, IIUM. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Azizan.
Waalaikumsalam, Najwa. Thank you, IIUM FM, for inviting me.
Yeah, you're most welcome. And Dr. Azizan has been with IIUM since 1997, holding a doctorate in finance from the University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, and Master of Business Administration in Finance from University Malaya and a Bachelor's in Business Finance from Oklahoma City University. Her award-winning research redefines how Waqf can drive social and economic sustainability from REITs or real estate investment trusts, Waqf models that unlock dormant land, to Waqf-based takaful schemes that protect flood-affected communities. So today we'll be exploring how this timeless Islamic concept, which is Waqf, can become a modern instrument for social impact and also inclusive growth. To start off, Dr. Azizan, for many Malaysians, Waqf is simply known as charity, but it actually goes beyond one-time giving. It is a sustainable form of charity that keeps benefiting people over time. Or what the terms that we use in finance call as perpetuity. So could you explain what makes Waqf different from any other form of charity that we know in Islam, such as sadaqah and also zakat?
Okay. Assalamualaikum. Okay, first of all, I would like to talk about the Waqf itself. This is one of the charities model. Of course, like what Najwa's already mentioned just now, we have like not only Waqf, we also have zakat, we also have sadaqah, and what makes these three things different. So basically for zakat, that is compulsory charity, while for sadaqah and also Waqf, that is basically a voluntary type of charity. So that is, in general, that is how we define, or we make the different. We try to differentiate between this zakat and also another form of charity, which is sadaqah and Waqf. And then when we want to compare between the Waqf and also sadaqah, because of actually based on the hadith, actually Waqf also is part of the sadaqah, but because it do have element of perpetuity, so we are talking about sadaqah jariyah. That means when you perform the Waqf, so the manafa'ah, the benefit, the usufruct, it is ongoing. There's a continuations of giving the benefits to ummah or to whatever or whoever target groups that you want.
And it must be ongoing, right? It is one of the principles.
Yeah, in the principles, in the pillar of Waqf, when we talk from the context of the mawquf or the asset of Waqf itself, it must that makes it different from the normal type of sadaqah, because the nature of mawquf, the nature of Waqf asset, this asset, it must have value. It can generate the benefits or usufruct again and again, continuously. So otherwise, it do not meet the criteria to be the mawquf. So for example, I just can give the simple examples. So if you give someone a cake when she ate it, that's it. There's no more benefit the next day. But if you give someone something that can generate manafah again and again, for example, you give to the person even for example, like you give the rod, so he can use, to fish to do the fishing, and therefore again and again, he can get the manafah from
the
fishing
rod.
rod. Yeah.
I see. And what are other principles in Waqf that we need to know?
Okay. Basically, in Waqf, we have three principles that we hold to: inalienability, irrevocability, and also perpetuity. So, in the context of inalienability, that means once you waqf your asset, that waqf will stand still. It cannot be. It do not. It's no longer belongs to anybody. That means with that, you can't inherit it, you can't sell it, you can't hibah it, and even you can't pledge it anymore. So that is the concept or the principles that Waqf have, and you don't have it in Sadaqah, because in the Waqf we must have we must hold to this concept or this principle. And then from the context of irrevocability, once it meet the pillars of Waqf, the contracts, the Waqf contract cannot be revoked. That means once you transfer your asset, to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, so it cannot belongs to anyone. I mean, like, there's nobody can revoke that contracts, even the waqif. That means those who perform the waqaf, if he wants to cancel it after the pillars already there, no, he even cannot cancel it. That means from there I can see the beauty of this Sharia ruling, because of shaitan always there to stop you from doing a good deeds.
Yes.
So when you already perform the waqaf, now you can't cancel it anymore. So that's good. It protects your rights. Like you'll get the once you waqaf, and of course we're looking at the manafah that it can that will be contributed by the asset. So inshallah you'll get the rewards continuously, and nobody's going to stop you, because it's already once you already managed to waqaf it, that's it.
That's it.
It's already.
And before we take a break, Doctor, what are some of the key pillars that we must know in Waqf?
Okay, the pillars of Waqf, basically we have 4. The first one, of course, the waqif. That means the one who actually wants to perform the waqaf. We call it as waqif, and of course we have the criteria for that. And the second one, of course, the mawquf itself. You must have the asset, and then you must have the beneficiaries, mawquf alai. And the last one, of course, sirah. That means that is the contract, the offer and the acceptance.
Okay. So before we go deep into our session about Waqf, let us take a break for a while and stay with us at IIUM FM, your campus radio. Welcome to your campus radio, IIUM FM, and I'm Najwa, and you are still with us for Financial Fit Stop, episode 4. The Waqf, the Sustainable Charity Model. We are continuing our insightful conversation with Associate Professor Dr. Azizan Binti Che Embi, who has been sharing her thoughts on how Waqf actually differs from ordinary charity, reminding us that Waqf is not just about giving once, but also about creating lasting benefits that continue to serve generations. Now, Doctor, you've done extensive research on innovative Waqf models, for example, from the Real Estate Investment Trust Waqf for land development to Waqf-based takaful schemes. So could you share with us a few successful Waqf projects in Malaysia that show how this traditional Islamic concept is being applied in modern and practical ways nowadays?
Okay. Okay, for successful Waqf projects in Malaysia, we are quite good in terms of coming out with modern model of Waqf, especially in the area of capital market. So for your information, Malaysia is, I believe that we are the pioneer in coming up with initial public offering meant for Waqf purposes. So, and it's not just a theory. We actually have it,
and we actually apply.
we apply it, and not only that, not only we have the IPO meant for wakaf, we also have unit trust, meant for wakaf purposes. That means inside the structure of that wakaf model, I mean, for unit trust and the IPO, you will see the beauty of how we managed to tap, wakaf fund. I mean, because once you wakaf, for example, the shares or the unit trust, of course, the principles remain, but whatever dividend, is growing, and with that, you manage to contribute back to the society, and there's a multiply effect of it. So if you look at, what I can quote, the best example is Waqf An-Nur, that is initiated by Johor Corporation, and with that, right now, I believe this is among in terms of the collections, in terms of the manafah that it can contribute, this is among the best examples that we have in Malaysia. Waqf An-Nur. So the net worth, if I'm not mistaken, is nearly 1 billion. The more, so this then, when you look at, in our religion, we get use of this tagline: the more you give, the more you get. So wakaf actually is in line with that. Okay, and not only that, we also have a few projects, residential projects. For example, in Penang, they are quite popular with Waqf Affordable House. So the land itself, of course, you preserve the land, but yet if you manage to develop the land, and that land can contribute a lot of rental income, and that rental income can be spread to so many activities or to assist needies. So you can see the beauty of wakaf in it. So Alhamdulillah, Waqf Siti Aisyah, Waqf Muhammad, Waqf Muhammad Hashim, if I'm not mistaken, in Penang, that actually become the eye opener to other states if they can develop the land and for residential house even, and that can also assist Malaysia because of in Malaysia we also facing the issues of affordable house meant for the middle income group. So right now we can see the projects going on well. And right now, they're going to proceed with Waqf Siti Aisyah Phase 2.
Wow.
So you can see that, if you manage to do it properly, whenever you receive the income, because again, Waqf, when you build the house on the Waqf land, you can't sell the house in terms of, I'm talking from the context of there's no ownership rights will be transferred. What you sell actually the usufruct only. So the house remain as the house. When you develop it on Waqf land, the house itself, when it's connect with the land, so that house also become a Waqf asset. So Waqf asset you can't sell. You only can sell the usufruct from the Waqf. So right now, the usufruct to use the house. So in Malaysia, many houses, for example, in the city or even in the Klang Valley, most of the land that is the government land. So it is under leasehold title. So many of us in the area of city, when you own the house, that is actually not yours. There's no transfer of ownership rights. You just lease the house. So with this concept, when you apply it on the Waqf land, and not much different because of you actually lease. We are talking about long lease, or hukur, in the context of Waqf. That means you just lease the house for several years, and with that, Islamic Religious Councils will get I mean, if they pay it upfront, this is related to what we call as ijarah mausufa fil alzimah, forward lease. That means rather than you collect the rental, every month or every year, by doing this project, we can see that you manage to, get the return or the manfaah immediately. That means after you, once you manage to develop it, so when the house buyer, when they actually lease that wakaf asset, they will pay the amount immediately, isn't it? Lump sum amount. So means that here, from the context of finance, you already receive the huge income upfront, and with a good methods of how you're going to manage the fund, if you're good enough, you can buy another forms of asset, maybe portions meant for, of course, you'll give the manafah for publics, for example, but another and some portion of it you can go and buy another plot of land that you can develop. So accumulations of wealth will be there. That means from the principles that you preserve, plus with the lump sum profits that you can receive upfront, you can have, you can give the impact to the society. That means you can see the social impact on that, and at the same time, accumulations of wealth will be there. That means you have another plot of land
to be developed.
Maknanya, in this context, the wakaf asset will be bigger. And when the asset is bigger, the amount of fund meant for to serve the ummah, to serve the needy will be more.
Will be much more. And building on that, in conventional economics, we often measure success by numbers of figures. For example, like GDP or profit. But for wakaf, the value is more, because the value is more social and spiritual. For example, improving education, access to healthcare, and also reducing poverty. So how can we actually measure the social impact of wakaf to show its real contribution to, for example, the national development?
Okay, I mean, like, if we really practice it in a correct form, and there's a governance aspect for, because the governance aspect is very important also, because you shouldn't wakaf your money to those you do not trust.
Yes.
So in Malaysia we have a lot of entities that manage to come up with very good wakaf product. I'll give the examples of one bank, which is Bank Muamalat. I'm promoting Bank Muamalat right now. Okay, so at the beginning they collaborate with Islamic Religious Councils of Selangor, and they come up with the cash wakaf products. So their the objective of this cash wakaf fund is meant for healthcare and the education sector. And for the healthcare, they they prioritize it for certain type of course they use the money for many healthcare purposes, but one of the priority is they want to have a lot of dialysis center, because if you look at people who undergo the dialysis treatments, it's quite costly. So by when banks come up with the product of cash wakaf, and they tap the money actually from their clients. Of course, right now I believe that the model, there's slight changes in the models, but at the beginning, as far as what I understand, not, for example, when you can, other banks also can apply this. I can see the beauty of this model, where, for example, for saving accounts holders, the return, if you pass to the account holders, it's not much. If we if you can tap, the cash waqaf members among your clients, for example, your saving accounts holders, and you can get their permissions. And normally for us, we don't mind, to give our return from saving account because it's too small.
Yes.
If we keep it, it won't make us rich. If we give it, it won't make us poor, isn't it?
Yes.
So with that, I can see that they managed to get huge cash waqaf just come from the return of the saving accounts. So and that accumulate because of course we'll keep on having the money, and whenever returns, when you collect it, from so many customers,
Yes.
so there'll be a multiplier effect, there'll be the impact. You can see the impact, and that is what happened in Singapore. In Singapore, they are using this method for their what I can say is that for they collaborate with like for us, we have our retirement fund scheme, EPF. So same things goes to them. I mean, they have provident fund, so they just collaborate with the provident fund. I mean, with the permissions of their government, where they make the this one is like, at the beginning it looks like it looks like compulsory.
Okay.
It looks like compulsory, but yet waqaf, you cannot, it must
Cannot
be
force.
yes,
Yeah, it
must be
sincere
voluntarily
and genuine.
basis. So but then what they did is they make everybody's in the system first. If you
Okay.
don't want, you ask not to contribute. So over in Singapore, all the Muslims in Singapore, if you are working adults, automatically you are in this system. That means and the amount is very small. And for example, like the minimum is $1, one Singapore dollar. That means from your salary, they just take $1 Singapore dollar for their cash waqaf, and they call it as Mendaki fund. This cash
Mendaki
waqaf,
fund.
they call it as Mendaki fund. And with that, and if you don't want, even same concept, if you give your $1, it won't make you poor. Isn't it?
Yes.
If you keep it, it won't make you rich even.
Yes.
But actually, from the context of, I think, Sharia,
Yep.
if you keep it on, that means if you give your $1, for sure, because whenever we go for whatever wakaf projects, you do not know that your account in akhirah,
Yes.
it
In the
will
year after.
accumulate. It will be accumulate and accumulate. You'll be rich in akhirah. That is the best thing. But with the small minority, Muslims are minority in Singapore, but yet through this method, they managed to pull a lot of fund every time, every salary, So at the end, they managed to build their own masjid without the government assistance. That's why governments over there, of course, they when they give the permissions, but yet, because of Muslims here over there, they wants to be independence. That means no need for the taxpayers' money. Like you channel it. We can somehow build our own masjid, give the social impact to our community using the waqaf model. And with that, in their masjid, even when they build the masjid, they make sure that of course that masjid built this on waqaf land, and even they come up with a good waqaf model. They have shop lots.
Oh, I see.
They had. So the operational cost of the masjid, first they can build the masjid easily from their own waqaf fund, and then they have a shop lots that they can rent it out, and
generate profit.
The profit will be used to cover the operational cost of the masjid. So I can see the beauty. I mean, from the finance,
It's a wonderful system.
you can see the very good financing models.
Yes.
The waqaf financing model
And the benefits, especially the social impact that it could give to the Muslim communities there, right?
And actually the good thing is that for us Muslim, and even for the audience, you need to know that waqaf you can give the manafa'ah, and not only meant for Muslim, it also, can be
Yes,
for
it can also be,
non-Muslims.
yeah.
Unless, but of course there's a rules here
I see.
for the mawquf alai. If you non-Muslims who actually attack us, like
Oh,
what
I see.
happened, like
Mm-mm.
Zionists.
Yes.
So of course you can't use the manafa'ah of wakaf.
Mm.
But otherwise, we are very open.
Yep.
We can share with them,
Mm-mm.
and that's why when we build hospitals, we'll have our dialysis center. Not only Muslims will
Can
use
get
it,
the
even
benefits.
non-Muslims can use it. When we build the affordable house, it's not only meant for Muslim, even non-Muslims can use it.
I agree.
Can
Get
the
benefit from
benefit
that.
from that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, madam. So let's take a short break together, shall we? Stay tuned, and you're listening to Financial Fit Stop, where faith meets finance, only on IIUM FM, your campus radio. Thank you for coming back to Financial Fit Stop episode 4. I'm Najwa, and we still have with us Associate Professor Dr. Azizan Binti Che Embi right here at IIUM FM, your campus radio. So earlier, Dr. Azizan shared how Waqf brings measurable social impact, not just only from Singapore, but not just from Malaysia, but also from Singapore, and not just through monetary returns, but by also uplifting communities through education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation. It is truly inspiring insights that we can gain just now. So now we are living in an era of digital transformation, and Waqf is also evolving. We've seen the rise of digital Waqf platform, cash Waqf, and even waqf-linked sukuk and Islamic bond that merge innovation with Islamic philanthropy. So, Doctor, how can modern financial technology and innovation make Waqf more inclusive, accessible, and also appealing, especially for young Malaysians, for students who want to contribute, even with limited funds?
Okay. Okay, to answer you that questions, okay, of course, during the old days, people love to wakaf their land, their house, their maybe plantations, and of course, that will cost you a lot, and not everyone have the chance to perform wakaf. If that's the, if you just needs to have the asset first. So basically, in today's context, and even in Malaysia, we already, the fatwa is already there where you can perform cash wakaf, and with the limited amount of money, even students, they can contribute. There's a lot of, if you go to, I believe all Islamic Religious Council's website, they have a platform where you can perform cash wakaf. And in the context of Malaysia, from my study, from my research, I found that the denominations for the cash wakaf, the amount is the minimum is like 5 ringgit.
Okay,
To the 10 ringgit. It's up to you. If you want to give more, you give more. But the denominations, that means per certificate of cash wakaf, let's start with 5 ringgit.
5 ringgit.
If you want to give more, so you buy
You can
more
buy
more certificate. So with that, even students can perform wakaf. And through the digital wakaf, of course, it makes things, you can easily, with the QR and what, you can easily, but make sure it's not through the, it must be through the trustable organizations.
And speaking of real world challenges, madam, Malaysia still has thousands of hectares of Waqf land that remain undeveloped or underdeveloped. So in your view, what are the main barriers? For example, it could be legal, financial, or managerial that cause this underutilization, and how can stronger governance and also professional management ensure that these Waqf assets can truly benefit the Ummah and generate that sustainable returns?
Okay. So, okay, I will start with the examples of the practice in Singapore as compared to the culture in Malaysia.
Okay.
Through my readings, in the case of Singapore, what they did is, for those who want to perform wakaf, they if they said that they want to wakaf the land meant for masjid, so when they wish to make it as a masjid, they really make it as a masjid, and next to, on the same plot of wakaf land, they also build several shop lots where, like I've said just now, where the rental income will be used to cover the operational cost of the masjid. So they come up with the model of sustainable wakaf. Means that we don't want, like, we come up with one wakaf project, and then that project needs to back from others. Same case goes to Al-Azhar University. So why until now those who studied in Al-Azhar's University, no need for them to pay the tuition fee, because of, in the case of Al-Azhar's University, they have a few assets that can generate rental revenue, and that rental revenue can cover the cost, the operational cost of the university. So therefore, without the income from the students,
they can also maintain.
They can pay the salaries of their staff, the utility bills and whatever, and also the students don't need to pay the fee. That means you can see the impact of wakaf. And until now, Al-Azhar University,
is still one of the top and best universities.
Yeah, and that means still sustain, isn't it? Sustain.
Yeah, we are talking about sustainable all of the time, right? So this is actually the impact that we can see, especially from the education, from the education industry.
Okay, go back to your questions just now about why in Malaysia remain undeveloped and what, because many of us, when we give our wakaf, okay, I want to wakaf it as masjid, but then we hope someone else fulfill our wish. Do you get what I'm saying? Telling it, and then we'll quite upset with the Islamic Religious Councils if I'll give them to manage it and they don't do anything. Actually, as government institutions, you need to have the budget to do so. That is the difference. I mean, the culture is a bit different when you wish someone else will take over. I mean, like, will proceed with those things. And then other than that, what I can see is that, of course, we have several factors that lead to why it is very hard for us to develop all the lands straight away. Of course, we have the issues of course, financial issues. That is also the main things. Other than that, you must understand when you develop the projects, there are some issues regarding, for example, when it comes to residential house even. When you wakaf, when you try to develop the land, the wakaf land meant for residential purposes, you know what? The house itself, after you develop it, it's not easy for you to get the banks to support it. It means that, for example, you as a buyer, you want to buy or purchase the usufruct of this wakaf house, isn't it? But in order to list this wakaf house, for banks, they already get use of, normally, they will hold the certificate. That means, if anything happen, that means you need to pledge. You need to use the asset as a collateral. But yet in wakaf, that is against the Sharia rulings on wakaf, where you cannot take the wakaf asset as a collateral. You cannot pledge it. So therefore, it's not easy also when you develop something. For example, you develop as commercial buildings or what, but yet developer, they do have problems in terms of getting the financing or getting the buyer for that projects. That is also another challenge where we need to educate the banks. In the case of Waqf Siti Aisyah, they managed to use different ways. That means you must be innovative enough to come up with different structure of financing. For example, they use ijarah contract, or they use the guarantor. That means if anything happen, so government will come as a guarantor, for example, rather than you take that wakaf asset as a collateral, you can also use another form of asset as a collateral. That means, as a developer, they can use another form of asset that do not related with the wakaf rules
as collateral.
As a collateral. So and in this context, of course lah, home buyer, they do have problems if they want to buy a house and no end financing. And of course then they can't, I mean, from the context of Islamic Religious Councils, they can't develop the Waqf land easily for residential house, even though the demand is there. But then even for other purposes, for example, if you want to build it as a hospital, even you need to deal with PBT or the local authority. The local authority, before you can start develop, as far as I aware, they also want you to surrender some of the land meant for road purposes, meant for meant for septic tank, and this is another issue because you can't make the Waqf asset shrink. So in the case of Waqf Siti Aisyah, they managed to come up with very good way to resolve this issue. That's why it can be replicated by other states. But again, the local authority must play their role. If we want to replicate like what Penang managed to develop their Waqf land, they actually managed to do it because of with very good cooperations among the banks, PBT, and also the utilities institutions such as TNB and also Indah Water. So and in this context, rather than surrender because the rules, you must surrender for them to have the power stations or septic tank or or the road reserve. But in the case of Waqf Siti Aisyah's project, they resolve it by asking them to lease the land. That means with the nominal rate. So because you want to give your services, and that services you will charge publics to pay back, isn't it? Means in the water, you give your services and people will pay it. Electricity, when we use it, we need to pay it. So now, instead of we surrender the land to you, you need to lease it from us just at a minimal cost. That means you just need to have a contracts between both. So that means at the end of the tenure, of leasing for that house, for that residential house, so whatever reserve road, whatever septic tanks, again will be surrendered back to the Islamic Religious Council. So the Waqf asset won't be shrink. Otherwise, Islamic Religious Councils cannot move to develop the land if all these institutions do not cooperate in order to understand the Sharia ruling regarding Waqf.
I see. Okay. So, Doctor, let's take a quick 5-minute break before we move to our final slot for today's program. So, stay tuned with us right here on IIUM, your campus radio. I'm Najwa Nordin, and you're tuning in to Financial Fit Stop right here at IIUM FM, your campus radio. And one final question for our guest, Associate Professor Dr. Azizan Binti Che Embi, before we let you go, or perhaps before we all enjoy our lunch. And so, Dr. Azizan, looking ahead, what is your vision for Waqf in Malaysia over the next decade? And how do you see Waqf playing a greater role in supporting Malaysia's sustainable development goals and or shaping a more inclusive and resilient economy for our future generations?
Okay. So for these questions, for me, I'm looking forward to see Malaysia have first, of course, from the context of governance aspect, the Waqf enactment. Waqf enactment, I believe that at the moment some states have it, some states still using the outdated one, and every states have different version of their Waqf enactment, even though of course the gist or the inputs are somehow similar, but in their different mold. So therefore, I really hope that in the case of Malaysia, I hope that we have a standardized Waqf enactment for every states. That means federal and all the from the federal, and it can be applied in federal government and also in the state governments. That is my wish. The first wish.
The first one.
Looking forward, that is what I want. And then other than that, of course, we really hope that publics, in terms of awareness, more awareness in terms of the products that we have in the market. If we don't support, only just because sometimes after several years, at the beginning, we have people who keep on talking about Waqf, and then after several years, like, do we really have it?
Yes.
So we don't want that. So we really hope that. I mean, even I'm happy to hear to join this
sharing session.
Sessions, because of it makes us we manage to create awareness about what kind of Waqf products that we have in Malaysia. Because Malaysia right now, like I've said, we have even my study is in REITs Waqf. That is not yet,
not yet developed.
Okay. But then so far we have sukuk Waqf, we have IPO meant for Waqf, we have unit trust meant for Waqf. So and we have banks that right now also venture into Waqf, and we have the corporate sector, like I've said, Johor corporations, where they set up the Waqf An-Nur, and is going on well. And then for your information right now, Felda is very big, institutions with a lot of contributors among the, of course, Felda, what we call that, Felda people. We have so many around Malaysia. Then so for Felda, as far as I know, I've already checked, the amount of fund that they have. I believe that last year, when I look at the amount, is like 20 millions, the Waqf fund. And this year, when I look at it again, wow, 42 millions. And so their model is also good models, and they also channel it to so many areas, such as educations, also for healthcare, and with so many investment projects also. So I hope that it'll keep on going. That means I hope Malaysians really supports our Waqf products, and we with the hope that one day we can see the impact. I mean, we not only can assist Malaysians, but we can also assist other poor countries.
And that beautifully marks the end of Financial Fit Stop episode 4 with the topic of Waqf, the sustainable charity model. So today we've learned that Waqf is not just a form of charity, but a powerful instrument for sustainable impact, one that blends faith, finance, and also the community well-being. That also includes our non-Muslim brothers and sisters. So as Dr. Azizan reminded us, when managed with professionalism and innovation, Waqf can truly transform social welfare into an everlasting sadaqah jariyah. So much appreciation from all of us at IMFM to you, Dr. Azizan, for your valuable insights and for your time. And to our loyal listeners, thank you for staying with us till the end. Until next time, I'm Najwa Nordin, only at IIUM FM, your campus radio.